Good back there, Brett. Okay, we got mics on both sides.
I can start.
Go ahead.
How's the team's energy level? I know you said they were tired before.
Well, we didn't, we just walked through yesterday, so I would be able to tell you after practice today, but I think it'll be terrific, from an energy standpoint.
And as you've had more time to look at UConn, just what stands out to you about them?
Well, they've got all the pieces. They've got perimeter shooting, even though they haven't shot it great yet from the arc, but they got shooters and they got size and they got length and they got experience and toughness. I mean, they're a complete team. They could win it again this year. I mean, Danny's got a good enough bunch that they could do that. And of course, they're run great stuff and well drilled and everything else. So I don't see a lot of glaring type deficiencies. I see a team that'll continue to get better and better, and they're playing without one of their very best players that, he may be ready for us, but he's been out here the last couple of weeks.
Coach, this is probably an obvious question, but when you prepare for a game like UConn, in particular, are there one or two things that you say to you or your staff, or I don't know if this happens, that you have to do well to be successful? I mean, not just obvious things, but maybe any little things that you have to do really well.
Well, I would say obvious things, Shay, would be defensive rebounding. They get 42% of their misses back. We haven't been a great defensive rebounding team thus far, so that's something that we have to do a better job of. Our ball screen defense needs to be on point because the way they run stuff, they do such a great job of lifting guys and taking away the tag men and making different guys be the tag guys and stuff like that we've got to do a really good job on ball screen defense. And then, offensively, we need to play with pace. We don't do that as well as what we're capable of doing yet.
This is more of a philosophical question, but we saw Arizona and Duke earlier, but these games on campus involving high-profile teams just aren't happening that much anymore. They're either in tournaments or on neutral floors, whatever. You've got 3 of them coming up with Mizzou and Indiana too. So is that important to you? Why is it important to you to have those home and homes?
I think it's important for our fan base to play 2 good powers a year at home from your season ticket schedule. I think that's important. You're going to get your conference play, and if you play 2 at home, that means you're going to have to play 2 away. So there's 4 games right there, and then you throw in the champions and the MTE and the Big East Challenge. That goes to 8 games right there of your 13 before we even get started with working on our schedule. So I think from a philosophical approach, I think trying to play games that allow your fan base to get excited the first semester, I think is important. And we've attempted to do that twice a year. And then, of course, with that is 2 road games that would match that, and then all the other stuff, which is mainly neutral after that. So in today's world, if you're not playing one of those home and homes at home, you're playing a bye game. And I don't think that excites the fan base near as much as what this does.
Over the summer, there's a lot of rumor that UConn might fit in the Big 12, might join the Big 12. Was that something that you supported at the time or would support in the future? Do you think they fit in well in this league?
I think UConn could fit in well anywhere. I mean, from a basketball standpoint, without question. I wasn't involved in those discussions, so I heard rumblings, but I wasn't involved in any way, shape, or form. So I was never in a position to support or not support. But I do believe that from a basketball standpoint, they would fit anywhere and do great. and certainly would be in addition to a basketball league regardless. I'm not sure that the entire decision is being made based on strictly basketball. I don't know. I mean, you're talking about a lot of different things, but that would be something from a basketball standpoint that would certainly make our league better.
If I could just ask too, how impressed were you last year watching UConn's run through the tournament, winning?
You know, I was a little out of it last year during the run. I actually watched like the last 10 days of the tournament from Florida, and I thought there was UConn and everybody else last year, to be honest with you. And when we got our seed, we were a 1 seed. The first thing I looked at was, you know, where they were, and the fact of the matter, they were a 4, if I'm not mistaken, and we would be playing them in the Sweet 16 if we had won a game, which we didn't. So it never came to that. But that, to me, would have put us in the hardest draw in the bracket, being a 1 seed, having to go against them, because I thought they were red hot, and they were.
Bill, just looking at the tape of Tristan Newton, what have you kind of seen from him?
From who?
Tristan Newton, the UConn guard. What have you kind of seen from him and like the challenges he poses?
Well, he's big. You know, he's long. He's kind of a do-everything guard. You know, he can shoot the basketball, but he's probably better getting downhill, playing to his mid-range. And we actually have a pretty good book on Tristan because, you know, I think he played 3 years for Coach Dooley at East Carolina. But he's a good player, and he's got length, and he's got toughness, and you know, he can pass the ball. And whether he's their lead guard or their off guard, Spencer's got the ball in his hands, or whoever else it would be, he's an impressive player.
He missed a chance to go up against Edie, obviously in Maui, but Hunter gets a big time opportunity here. It's another big matchup. How important is that to him, to your team, to the whole concept of kind of what Dave was talking about with just big marquee matchups like that?
You know what? I don't know if it's important to the team, but I think from an individual standpoint, I think if I was 7-1 and I'm thinking about who I would be going against, I wouldn't be looking at 6'3" guards. I would be looking at what other footers are out there, and you know, and of course, when you think of that, obviously Connecticut's got one of the best 2 or 3 in the country. So I would think this would be a big deal for him, and I'm sure it's the same way on the other side too.
Anything else? Gary?
I need to check this, but I think UConn's won.
I scored more points than in our freshman games here in the field house. Okay.
I think they've won 26 straight non-con games by double.
They have.
digits.
Yeah, they have.
Is
it 24? Whatever it is, it's a lot.
Does that show that they've been on an incredible run, or just that they're a powerhouse, or what?
Well, I think it shows a lot of things. I think anytime you can win 24 in a row, regardless, is pretty impressive. You know, to me, if it was 24 in a row and they're all guarantee games, that's still impressive, but it's not impressive as winning 6 games in a row in the NCAA tournament, which are considered part of the streak, and you know, beating Indiana and Texas and those teams by double figures. So yeah, that's a very impressive streak.
And this marquee matchup is the biggest since when in your mind in the field house? How big a game is this?
You know, it's a big game. Okay, am I going to tell you it's bigger than playing a winner-take-all game for a Big 12 championship? I'm not going to tell you that, and Danny wouldn't tell you that either. Is it bigger than playing Kentucky at home when they could win a national championship? I'm not going to tell you that. I'm telling you from this standpoint right now, at this moment, playing the defending national champions that is on a roll right now in early December is as big a game as I can ever remember in early December. But I'm not going to go on and say this is the biggest game that we've ever played. I mean, I don't think that's fair to anybody, and I don't think they would say the same thing either, because there's been a lot of big games. I'm sure when UConn was playing Nova or whatever the case, where those were some big games too in gambling. But this is, I think both teams would probably agree, it's about as big as it can be on December 1.
Finally, on your show, you were talking about Juan, and it was pretty interesting how he's got to score more.
Well, I just think he's got to look to score. You know, he scored 1 point against Eastern Illinois, and it wasn't that he turned down a lot of shots. He just did. We didn't do a good job putting him in position to take shots or to be more aggressive. So yeah, he's got to be more of a threat. That's not a secret. He definitely needs to do that.
You've mentioned it already. Everything's a small sample size right now. But when you look at the start of Hunter's season, how does that compare to some of the other big men you've had during your tenure?
Well, nobody's put up numbers like that. You know, if you want to look at sample sizes for a really good player that's vying to be an All-American type player, look against Kentucky, look against Tennessee, look against Marquette, look against Connecticut, look against Missouri, look against that Indiana. You know, look in your league play and stuff like that, because it can get skewed if you don't. You know, there's some guys that average, you know, 15 a game that could get 2 in the hardest games of the year and turn around and get 28 in a game in which they win by 40. They averaged still averaged 15 a game. That's not real. So far, what I've been impressed with Hunter so far, even though he's put up numbers against everybody, he's done it also against the best competition. And I don't know if we had anybody get off to a better start in that way. You know, he's got 20 plus rebounds in 2 different games, Kentucky and Tennessee. And Tennessee was coming off of 13 hours before our last game. I think that's been pretty impressive so far.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Coach.